Hey there, Psycho here, and today I'm going to be going over the many uses of practice mode. And now, to begin with, we're going to be going over what you can do in practice mode that you can't do from just queuing up in games repeatedly. The information that you can learn that way. We're also going to be dividing the entire area into different sections that you can practice different parts of. To begin with, let's go over the class selection. On this account, I don't have everything unlocked. I have Raider and Brute still to unlock. As you see, I started out as a Brute. All you have to do to start out as a different class, or pick a different class, is go to the class select by hitting escape, go over to that class, hit Raider for instance, hit primary loadout. This is part of the new loadout system. I'll probably go over that a little bit later. And now you are that class. So, you start out with their starting weapons. You don't have any of the upgrades on any of the weapons. So in order to fix that, you can hit escape again, go modify classes, pick the class that you just chose, which would be the Raider in this instance. Go to primary loadout, go to primary weapon, and now you can choose a different weapon if you want to. You can do that with any of these other ones. You can switch over to Jammer Pack if you want to try that out. And it's as easy as clicking on it. So we're going to try out Plasma Gun. So just click on that, and it will instantly switch you over. Now, before I exit out of this, I would like to note there is no modify option, so you can't test out any of the upgrades. This is extremely important, because, as you can see, one of the upgrades on many of the guns is plus 20% damage versus armored, so you're not going to get the exact same numbers from some of your damage, but you're still going to get the feel of the guns for the most part. Exit out of there. Now, the map is divided into 3 primary areas. There is a theoretical 4th one I'll go over later on. Now, this is the first area. This is where you spawn. You spawn next to an inventory station where you can go in to restore your ammo and energy and all that good stuff. But one thing to note about the inventory stations before we move on, and this is important, if you enter one, it's going to switch you to your original weapon. So you're going to have to go back into Modify Class, Raider, Primary Loadout, Primary Weapon, plus weapon. Now, the next part is the specific dummies, and why I divided this into areas. Some of these dummies are not useful. You're not going to get a lot of useful information from them. For instance, this dummy right here is just going back and forth very slowly and walking. Players do not move like that at all. There's no useful information you can get from firing at this guy other than how to kill some level 1 guy that hasn't figured out jetpack yet. So ignore him. You know, you can blow up any of the dummies if you're bored, but really just you're not going to get anything out of this guy. These 3 over here you're going to get some information out of. Now, the information you get out of these isn't going to be very relevant to how you aim or anything like that. It's more of a numbers thing. For instance, I'm going to fire at this light practice, medium practice, and heavy practice, and note how many projectiles it takes to defeat them with a plasma gun. 1, 2. So, took 2 for him, and 3. 3, 4, 5. So you can notice. Okay, this is the second area. This one does not have much to offer, except this guy. He will jump through the air several times and run around like a maniac. You should only try firing at him while he's in the air, and I suggest this hill, right at the bottom of this hill, as a good point for trying to get a good lock on him, because this will show him jumping towards you, which is what a lot of people will be doing when they're trying to chase you down. See? And that will give you a good simulation of fighting an actual opponent. And the other part of this is the Beowulf. The only thing you can get out of this is the same as those medium, light, and heavy practice dummies, which is how effective your weapon is against them. As you can see, Shooting Beowulf, not really worth your time. This is a lot of direct hits. We've gone through 2 clips. Yeah, 2.5 clips basically. We're almost out of ammo there. And the other part of this is the light practice turret, which is the same as the Beowulf. How many hits does it take? And it's going to take a lot. So, moving on. Okay, this is the third area. Now in this third area, there's one primary target that you want to focus on whenever he's up. This guy here. And you're gonna, if he's doing this, where he's running up the hill like that, you're gonna want to reset him. Oh, you little... Okay. So, you reset him, and then you wait about here on the hill. And you can use him flying sideways like that as a... It's sort of what players will do as a maneuver. So you can practice leading them with your SMG or whatever. Now, the other part of this is if you move further up on the hill right here, you have 3 different targets, 3 different distances, and they're all moving upwards at 3 different rates. These are pretty useful for trying to catch flying opponents. This is something that you... It's a lot more difficult than it appears to be. And it's a lot more useful for if you're using a spin fuser or something like that. If you can get them at the peak of their jump, if you can estimate the peak of the jump, you can usually get them. But it's all kind of hard. This one over in the far distance is the hardest. And honestly, you shouldn't feel too bad about not being able to get that one over there. You should be able to get it with enough practice, but it's going to take some time, and you're not going to be firing at enemies that far away most of the time anyway. But it's just good to know the distances that you would have to lead a target. Like this one is pretty hard because they fall really fast. Yeah. Now, moving on, we have this second part of the third area-ish. Again, there's only one thing here. These 2 people will be moving back and forth. I don't even know how that guy died. And that's all they do. So this is not very useful. On the other side of this area is a single light turret. Do not go to the left side of the map from your starting point. The left side is completely worthless. The enemy base has defenses in place. None of them are going to fire at you. It's not worth going over there. And the top of your spaceship is going to have one guy, I believe? Yes, one guy running across it. That guy is only useful for figuring out shelling distances. For instance, if you want to be able to hit the top of that, then that's pretty much the use of it. But you don't even need a person there to figure out if you're hitting the top of it with any of the ranged explosive weapons. So that covers all of the different areas that you can currently use in target practice to actually see a noticeable improvement in your aim. Another thing to go over, aside from these areas, aside from the class selection and the modifying the classes, is that the times to actually use practice mode. And that should be when you feel like you want to get, you want to continue playing, but you're making too many mistakes in the multiplayer. You're getting too many losses in a row, and you're having a tough time. You're feeling really down about it or really angry about it, and you just can't focus or concentrate. Focusing in game is extremely important. There are 3 different portions of targeting and playing multiplayer games, and these concepts kind of apply to a lot of real-life things too. There's physical, emotional, and an intelligence part of it. Physical part is the muscle reflexes that you have in your muscle memory in your, in this case, for operating the mouse. You will benefit from practice mode in that region mostly. And in intelligence, you will also benefit from the amount of knowledge that you're going to get from how many hits does it take to destroy an enemy, which enemies should I be going after because of how long it's going to take to destroy them, that sort of thing. That kind of knowledge will help you out. And it will help you in the emotional part because you're fighting bots here. These guys don't fight back. It's going to be relaxing. It's going to calm you down if you're having a bad day about playing. So that's important. The bad side of these is that if you don't get enough practice, then in-game, in multiplayer or in this practice mode, then you will run into certain issues. For instance, you'll notice that you'll be moving a little bit slower in the physical side of things. For the you might forget things, or you might miss out on patch notes for the actual knowledge and intelligence section. But for the emotional part, you may notice an improvement. It will be short-lived, because you might find yourself losing several matches in a row, and at first you'll just laugh it off because you haven't played in a little bit. But then after a little while you'll be like, what's going on? Why do I suck at this game? Ah! And that's when you should head over to practice mode and just start blowing up dummies. Anyway, hope this has helped you out. And I'll see you later.